I'm going to be sharing 3 common phrases that I hear from job seekers today, and if you can relate to even just one of them, then this video is for you. Here they are. I've applied to over 100 jobs in the last few months, and I've barely had any interviews. 2, I used to get interviews for about 75% of the jobs that I apply for. Now it's barely 1%. Or 3, I tailor my resume for every application out there, and I still don't hear anything after I apply. So again, if you relate to even one of them, keep watching. Also, comment me below if you do. My name is Sarah Camillo, and I'm a certified career coach and a certified resume writer with over 15 years of recruiting experience. So in short, it's not you, it's me. Actually, it's not me either, it is your resume. Your resume isn't representing you and your experience as well as it should, and if a recruiter doesn't understand your resume, if it's not clear to them, if it doesn't wow them, they're declining you on the spot. Resume writing has really become a guessing game on what information you should include and what you should omit. So I became certified in resume writing about 8 years ago, and I've created a way to help streamline the resume writing process, and I'm going to be sharing this process with you today. Please promise me this before I jump into the process. If you end up working with a professional resume writer and they simply give you a questionnaire to fill out and then they will say, I'll magically create a resume for you after you fill this out, run fast. That is a big waste of your time and money. Because if you work with this person, you are going to sound like every other person that they've written a resume for. You need to work with a resume writer who works one-on-one with you. You have at least 1 or 2 calls with them on the phone one-on-one so that your resume is effectively customized to you and your strengths. So that's a promise I'm hoping that you're making with me right now. I'm going to walk you through a resume section by section, sharing the details and the strategy and the prompts that you should use for each section. And now this is the first time I've ever done something like this, so I'm open to all the feedback and questions and comments below. I will read through all of them, because if I need to dig into any of these sections even further or any of these prompts even further, I would like to know, and I will do so in another interview. Also, please bear with me. I've never done a video like this. I feel like this is going to be a lot of information, so I'm open to all feedback and comments below on if you need any more details on any specific section or prompt or anything like that. Okay, let's dive in. Top section. At the top of your resume, your name, your contact information. It should include your phone number, your email, your LinkedIn URL, and then if you have like a professional website or portfolio, that link as well. Section number 2, resume title and pillars. This is so important. I've been sharing this more and more lately. When I was recruiting, if I was reading resume after resume after resume, and I read a resume that had a title that aligned exactly with the job that I'm recruiting for, I'm immediately more interested. I'm going to read it a little bit closer. Recruiters do not read word for word today, but when that aligns, something special happens. You get a little bit more excited. You're going to want to read it. So make sure you have a resume title, and then I call them pillars, which are like key strengths, another place to add some keywords at the top, 3 or 4 at the top under your resume title. And your resume title should be aligned with the job that you want next, not your current job title. And then you can even have a tagline at the bottom as well, something that really represents you. One I recently did was achieve President's Club 6 times throughout my career. Something like that that represents you, go ahead and do that as well. Under the resume title, section number 3 is like a professional or executive summary. Now, when it comes to a summary, there are some recruiters who love a summary. It's like picking whatever show or movie they're going to watch next on Netflix. They like a little overview. Then there are some recruiters who think, well, ChatGPT probably just wrote this. I'm going to skip it. It's fluff. So in order to appease both types of recruiters, I usually keep it brief, even just 2 or 3 sentences customized to you and your strengths. That's the most important part. It's optional. You don't have to have a summary, but if you do, just keep it short. Next, I typically write like a key accomplishments section or career highlights section. This really is for those who have like over 10, 12, 15 years of work experience, where it really makes sense to have one. The point of this section is you want to highlight things throughout your career that you don't want missed when a recruiter quickly scans your resume. So you want to highlight those. The recruiter's eyes are drawn to a section like this, so you want to put some 2 to 4 like key wins that you've had in your career, ways that you've really made an impact. When you look back at a company and you think, okay, what accomplishments really stand out to me? Those are the things you want to keep in there. Ideally, you have quantitative information in there too, so that you really impress them quickly. It's also important to note that you may have this bullet somewhere else as well in your resume, which is absolutely fine. Just take a little time to rewrite it so it's written a little bit differently, but it's good to have it twice in your resume so that the reader can see at what point in your career that you achieved that accomplishment. Next section, number 5, is typically a skills section or maybe a tech stack section. You can either have it here or put it at the end of your resume. That part's up to you. The reason this is so important is, again, it's an easy way to entice the reader quickly with some strong skills that you have. When you apply to a job somewhere, you're in that company's database or ATS forever. So say you apply to a job and they end up canceling the job or it goes internal. When a similar job opens, a recruiter can go into that database and search by these keywords or skills. And that's another way that they can find you. I did that often when I was in a recruiting role. The third reason this section is so important, especially today, is because of AI. So when you apply to a job, you might be the 200th person to apply, but if the AI is integrated into that ATS, it may rank you a little bit higher based on your keywords or your skills, and then some other factors as well, like the titles you've held, the companies you've worked at, and some other factors. That's for another video. But anyway, those are the main reasons the skills section is so important to have today. You want them relevant to your industry, any kind of trending words that are happening in your industry, make sure you have them in there. And you can even take some from the job descriptions when you apply. If you notice things like client experience written a few times or client satisfaction written a few times, make sure that that is in your resume. Okay, the next section is the big one, right? Professional experience or work experience, whatever you want to call it. So what I typically do is I review whatever my client has given me, and then I may call out some things I need some clarification on. If it sounds like it's just a bullet from your job description, we most likely need to get some details in there, make it more specific. Because remember, if it's not clear to the recruiter, they're going to decline you. If it's not wowing the recruiter, they're going to decline you. And unfortunately, this is a broken process, right? You need to write your resume in a way that makes sense to a recruiter who's probably never been in your job before. It's broken, but this is what we have to go with, right? This section, it's so important to focus on numbers, data, quantitative information, because that's what really speaks to a recruiter and helps a recruiter understand if you are a good performer, if you improved things, boosted things, advanced things, elevated, accelerated, anything positive like that, they're going to see that and see that you really made an impact in this job. So I have a list of prompts that I use for every job and every client that I work with. So these questions that I ask tend to trigger other experience that may not be included in that person's resume. So it gets them talking, and I'm constantly just adding more information to their resume. Sometimes I ask one question and get 2 bullets out of it. It just depends. But I'm going to share these prompts with you now. Here we go. The scope of the role. Every role you need to include the scope of it, meaning the team size, if you had anybody reporting into you, directly or indirectly, globally or domestically. If you're in sales, what was the territory or the region that you covered? How many accounts did you manage? How many clients did you manage? All of that shows the scope of the job that you held. Next, KPIs or key performance indicators, goals, SLAs, there's a few different names for it. Basically, it's what your job was aligned with, like the goals you were trying to reach each year. They typically are relevant to your industry, but I'm going to share some common KPIs that I usually call out in every resume. Some of those common KPIs are new revenue, new customers or business growth, online conversions, cost savings, customer retention or customer satisfaction. If it's in sales, maybe it's new business into a new territory. Maybe it's client retention, employee retention if you're in HR. If you're in IT, maybe it's about data automation or accuracy or AI integration. Anything with AI today is so important. If you're in marketing, maybe you're capturing the engagement that you're getting online or online conversions, like I said, from people shopping online and converting out of the cart. All of these things are KPIs, and you want to show if you've met or exceeded all of them. The next prompt is about side projects. So it's always good to show anytime you've been selected by your manager to join a side project with another team. Typically, you're working cross-functionally, like with other lines of business in the company. And honestly, probably 98% of the clients I've worked with have had some side projects. These are typically things that you're pulled to do outside of the normal day-to-day of your job and outside of your job description. So really think about it. I'm sure that you've done some. So that may include things like a software implementation that the company is using, a community event. Maybe there's a pilot or some beta testing going on in your company and they needed people from different departments to join. So make sure you share those side projects because it shows that you can work outside, you can work well with others, you can collaborate with other teams. That says a lot about you as a professional. The next prompt is about vendor management or agency partnerships, like working with external vendors or suppliers. So I always ask this question because again, not every employee is working with a vendor. Sometimes it's 1 or 2 people per team. So if you're selected to do this, this says a lot about you and your ability to represent the organization well, build relationships with others, make decisions, think on your feet sometimes. And then if you are involved with contract negotiation of rates, terms, expectations, anything like that. That's another good detail to share as well. The next prompt is about innovation or trends. So think about the different trends in your industry today. Maybe it's in marketing and it's about influencer marketing or experiential marketing experiences, things like that. Maybe it's anything around, again, AI or reporting, automating the reporting, VR or AR, anything like that, anything innovative that you want to include, make sure that you're including it. The next prompt is about cross-functional collaboration. So do you work with HR on hiring? Are you part of any interview processes? Do you work with the onboarding of new employees? Are you part of any kind of training for new hires? Do you work with finance and budget planning or financial forecasting? And then again, do you work with marketing on any kind of company promotions or brand building initiatives? All of these things like that. You really need to think outside of your day-to-day job and outside of your job description to add some of these additional skills and experience that you do today. Those are the foundational questions I ask for the professional experience section. But what I also do is then do some research on other jobs across the country, different locations, different markets. I read a bunch of different job descriptions and use that as research to then build out the resume even further. Maybe there's things we haven't talked about yet, and I notice things in job descriptions at different experiences they're looking for. So then I ask my client if they have any of that experience. If not, that's okay. We just want to make sure that we include all that they do have. Now, early in your career, like the older positions, you don't need as many bullets. For those jobs, you really want to focus on the KPIs, again, any kind of numbers, results, metrics. And then again, ask yourself what accomplishments stood out to me during my time in this role. What made me feel successful in this role? And that's what you want to highlight per position. Okay, the sections after professional experience, we want to include your education. So include all degrees, any college experience that you've started, include an anticipated graduation date if you have one as well. Include all certifications and licenses you hold, any of those that are relevant, and obviously the more recent, the better. Another section you can include is any industry memberships or associations that you're a part of. It's always good to show your development and your networking outside of your job, but still growth within your industry. And then also volunteer activity. It's always a side conversation that comes up. If you do Habitat for Humanity, so many other people do, or Make-A-Wish Foundation, so many other people do. It often starts off these side conversations and says a lot about you outside of your day-to-day job. And another section is any kind of professional recognition or awards that you've received shows that you're a good performer, right? So anything around good performance or you exceeded expectations in some way, whether that was you individually or a part of a team. Again, if you're in sales, any kind of President's Club, there's so many more awards when it comes to sales, so include them all. And then even if you have any kind of internal leadership development programs, companies outside employers know those are typically for high performers. So definitely include any of those development programs that you've been a part of and that you've been nominated for primarily. And then lastly, if this resonates with you and your industry, if you have any publications, presentations or speaking engagements, things like that, or even interviewed, if you've been interviewed by a brand, link the article. Anytime you can link something, that's always good to show as well. It just shows validity, makes it more real, and they can learn even more about you in that article. Okay, seemed like a lot of information. I went section by section through a resume. When it comes to tailoring your resume for the jobs you apply for, make it easy. Really just focus on the top part of the first page of your resume. So the resume title and the pillars and the keywords, your accomplishments section, those are the main things you want to tailor for your resume so that you're not spending 20 minutes or more tailoring it for every application, or else you won't apply to jobs. And you need to apply for jobs, unfortunately. So I hope this was helpful. Please comment below with any questions, or if you need any other details on any of these prompts or sections or anything about your resume, I'm happy to help. So if you like this video, please like the video, and I'll see you in the next one.